All right, welcome back to the Ottawa Studios inside my canoe head. I am your host, Dr. D. Today, we are going to talk about your number one weapon, your one thing that you have that nobody can take away from you to make it through chaos, to fight through chaos, to create a resilient self. Well, that's you. So sit back, grab yourself your favorite beverage. We're going to have a great conversation about how you turn yourself into a resilient individual. All right, welcome back to the show. Thanks again for all of your feedback. Continue to bring it on. InsideMyCanoehead.ca that takes you over to our Buzzsprout site, or drop over to our parent company, Preparedness Labs Incorporated, at preparednesslabs.ca. Everything we offer is there. Go up, hit the catalog button, see what we have for you. Much of what we offer there, from a free 1 or 2 page download to get you and your family started on your preparedness journey. We've got free links to our Roadmap to Resilience series, a 5-part series here on video, on podcast, or on the Substack app, all free of charge, that gives you everything you need to start your journey towards preparedness, to build your self-reliance, self-sufficiency, and to become a more resilient individual. But today we really wanted to kick off talking about resilience from the perspective of you. Often what we hear about is a continuous ongoing discussion of how the world is so chaotic, how things are so difficult, how it's so challenging for you or anybody to get ahead. It just seems like you're forever got a boot sitting on your head, kicking you down and stopping you from trying to achieve what it is you're after. The reality is we live in a modern, technologically enabled society, but we were built by nature to live in nature and be part of nature. And often what humans forget is that the human animal is designed to live in the environment, not on top of the environment. If you think back in history, humans were exceptionally well capable of surviving in tribal groups, of nomadic lives, of following their food, of surviving through everything the world could throw at them, from temperature changes to wild beasts to everything else under the sun. They had a way to cure illness and everything just from the nature. Take us from that, plug us into our modern technologically enabled world, and today we're overly challenged because of a couple of degrees centigrade or Fahrenheit change in the global temperature. And to address that, we need this massive behemoth societal intervention from government to try to save us from the pending apocalypse. The reality is we're living lives for which the human animal was not designed to do, and therefore we're having to replicate quite a number of systems that don't really necessarily need to be there. So when we sit back and think about, we often discuss, what is the definition of resilience? Now, it is one of the most abused terms in disaster and emergency management literature, in society. If you look at the peer-reviewed published articles in top-notch journal, there are literally dozens of different definitions of the word resilience. Most of them from social scientists who use phrases such as, for the purpose of this article, we will define resilience as. And a lot of that is geared towards trying to steer the conversation towards how they want you to examine resilience, how they think it should be looked at. So I'm going to write a study and I'm going to do a bunch of work, or I do a bunch of work and I get a series of findings that are very, very interesting, but they don't fit a definition of something. So I need to kind of alter the definition so that what I just found makes reasonable sense. That's not just in the emergency management field. That's quite common across a lot of the literature domains and a lot of the social science domains and paradigms in humanity. A lot of our definitions are abused, for lack of a better term. So when I think about resilience, I like to turn to the natural sciences, your physics, your chemistry, things that have far more rigid definitions, and there is far less tolerance for changes to definitions. So the sciences reject people who try to alter definitions to fit what they think it means, or, in this situation, I think it means this. That's not generally tolerated in the physical natural sciences. And because of that, I like to turn to them. Now, I'm going to read from physics what the definition of resilience is here. It is the ability of an elastic material, rubber or animal tissue, to absorb energy from a blow and release that energy as it springs back to its original shape. That is what the natural sciences believe resilience to be. So if we adapt that to humans, think about it in the sense as resilience is your ability, your elastic ability to take a blow. So an exogenous shock, some outside event happens to you, and your ability to absorb that and then form back to your normal shape. So whatever blow you take from this exogenous shock, this emergency or disaster, you're able to get back to your normal pre-event state, sense of normalcy, if you will. That's a measurement of resilience. So if we translate the natural definition to our world, we get a better understanding of what resilience is without relying on what the social sciences have to say about a definition of resilience. And if we think it that way, we might want to look at, and I've framed a lot of the discussions on this channel and a lot of work that I've done over the last 12 years in the field about the idea of the Stoic philosophy. Now, I've shown this book before, written by Ryan Holiday, The Daily Stoic. I read it every day or every other day whenever I remember to write in my journal. The point being is that the Stoics are often misunderstood, but in general, their idea was they accept the reality that they control very little in the world in which they live. So everything that happens, every event, every instant falls into one of two buckets. The things that you can control and the things that you cannot. The Stoics would argue that it is illogical for you to spend exorbitant amount of time and wasting your finite time and energy to try to influence what you cannot control. Now, the Stoics didn't mean ignore the world around you. That's often a misunderstanding. What they meant is you may have a small amount of influence on a small amount of occurrences that are outside your control. But in general, their theory of amor fati, which is Latin for just mean love fate, and it literally means learning to accept what happens in the world as is, where is, and without assigning some catastrophic nature to it and blame. So if we really can't influence things that are beyond our control, what can we influence? And the Stoics speak to the idea that you can influence what is within your control, and that is simply what you say, either on mediums like this, what you say to yourself in the mirror when nobody else is around, and what you say to other people in person. It's also what you might do physically. So how you act, the books you write, the jobs that you take, the voting patterns you have, the location you decide to live in. All of these things that are within your decision-making authority on your own to do, and what you say with your words to yourself and to the external population is all that you have in control. And if you think about the earlier discussion about the definition of resilience and you map that now, well, then maybe when we think about it, what really is your key to resilience are the two tools that nature or God, depending on your religious belief, provided for you, and that is the physical form to act and the mental capacity to decide. So if you look at the human animal, it's often referred to what is the difference, or the discussion has often happened about what is the difference between human animal and all the other animals in the world. Sociologists kind of put it simply. We are the only animals that know we're here, have awareness about our reality, and also are aware that time limited and that death is coming. So we know that we're here for a finite period of time, and we're physically aware of the broader things around us, right? Akin, The dog is scared of fireworks, but the dog doesn't run around worried that fireworks might happen, right? So they're not aware of the world around them in the sense that they don't walk around worrying about fireworks going off. They live in the moment the fireworks happen, they get scared. So if you tie those two things together, the two powers that you do have, similar to other animal species, is you have the ability to cognitively think and make decisions, plan and decide what you will do, and then you have the physical ability to act that out and to do it. So if you can do those two things, if you think, then those, through the Stoic philosophy and the natural science definition of resilience, leads you to the key tools that you have. Now, there's one more, because we live in a modern, technologically enabled society, that irrespective of your political or economic views, we've established a system, a capitalistic-orientated system, that requires fiat currency. You need money, right? You need some of these things to kind of make the world go around. So because of that, you have a responsibility to earn. So when we talk about responsibility, we often ask the simple question, which is the most important question in the field of preparedness, is who is responsible for your outcomes? And there's two possible answers to that. There's one, others. And I refer to it just as a general title as others. That means you believe your family, your community, the government, some external force is responsible for ensuring that you have better outcomes, that your life becomes improved, that you earn more money, or that your bills are paid for. The other choice is yourself, that incredible, handsome, beautiful person you see in the mirror. Really, those are the two choices you have. If you choose the others, in other words, you are laying the responsibility for your success or failure at the feet of others, then you are letting them fail, and at some time, if they decide they no longer want to take care of you, you fail, and you fail hard. You have no part in your future. If you look at the other side and say, I'm responsible for my outcomes, I accept responsibility, good, bad, or indifferent, success or failure, it is my fault. Now, a lot of people spend time doing one of two things. One, they blame the living crap out of themselves, and they beat themselves up with negative self-talk about, you're a fool, you're an idiot, you're all these dumb things, you're fat, you're overweight, you're ugly. And they continually blame themselves about the world around them. And then you have the other group of people who will continually blame the world around them. You know, I'm oppressed, I'm held back, I'm this way. You know, my life as it is right now is because of a bunch of other people making bad decisions and hurting me. Or you beat the living crap out of yourself because you're not successful. Both of those are zero games. There is no sense in doing either one of those. So the logical outcome is that you accept responsibility for your outcomes. So if you're responsible for your outcomes, and resilience is your physical and your mental health, and in today's capitalistic world you need your financial health, then I'm going to argue with you, your roadmap to resilience is to take command and control of your physical, mental, and financial health, right? And resilience is free. I have been saying this for well over a decade, that preparedness and the function of becoming resilient requires absolutely no financial intervention. So anybody out there who wants to try to say preparedness has a price tag, they're wrong. I've been studying this for over a decade. You're dead wrong if you think that you need to spend money to become prepared. If you believe that, you misunderstand preparedness at its core. It's about self-reliance. It's about learning the skills and knowledge necessary to have the skills to become a position where you are no longer reliant on the external world for support, or that reliance is temporary but replicable when it falls. We talked about in the last episode about preparedness is through a functional lens is your dependency on and your reliance on the 10 sectors of critical infrastructure here in Canada, In the US, there's 16. But if we look at the failure of a piece of critical infrastructure, the health sector, the financial sector, the food sector, the water sector, the cellular, the manufacturing, the government, if any one of those fail, then your preparedness is your ability to navigate that failure and keep your life as close to normalcy as possible. None of that costs any money. None of it. So when we talk about the three things that you can do that are within your control, when we talk about physical health, it starts off with three simple things: sleep, nutrition, and exercise. Now, nutrition is simple. And I've said this, if you follow me for any period of time, it's but simple, bud. It's real simple. Eat food, right? Food has singular ingredient. Everything that has more than one ingredient is a manufactured good that is reasonably or partially digestible by the human animal. So I don't care if you're a pescatarian, vegan, carnivore, herbivore, omnivore, or any latest fad diet. Couldn't care less. Your success is found in eating food, like real food. Not stuff in the middle of the grocery store. If it comes in a box, it's not food. It's a manufactured good from industry that you're going to shove in your pie hole and think it's healthy for you. Exercise is easy. It's simple. And it's free. Physiological studies have shown, and we look at the anthropological models of the humanity, that human beings are designed to do three simple things. We are designed to walk long distances, we are designed to carry heavy items, and we are designed to sprint short distances. That's it. And if you want an exercise program, it doesn't require a gym, doesn't require any special weights or equipment. There are all kinds of great body weight programs available online, or just go and start walking. If you spend an hour a day destroying your body, then you can pretty much do what you want the rest of the day. And I learned that from an old commanding officer, individual who I incredibly look up to, and he just used to use that phrase. He would go out and he would destroy his body through exercise for an hour every morning, and then he could pretty much get away with whatever he wanted the rest of the day because of what he invested in himself. My argument on sleep is this. There are so many different studies on sleep. I'm not a sleep expert. But if you zero in, if you rise early, if you zero in your nutrition and eat just food, and you exercise daily, sleep will come, especially if you choose joy. And that's what we're going to swing to mental health. Now, I'm not a therapist. I'm not here to give you mental health advice. I'm not here to help you solve your problems. But I am a 28-year Army veteran with several international deployments, and I have seen the worst of humanity, and I have experienced some of the worst things you could imagine. What that has taught me is that it is up to me to choose joy. No one's coming to improve my mental health. In the end, it's like an alcoholic. You can say 10 times out of 10 that I'm going to quit drinking for my family. I'm going to quit drinking for my kids. I'm going to quit drinking for my job, or for whatever the reason may be. None of that matters. The alcoholic only stops drinking when they do it for themselves. The same thing with the mental health. And the recipe that I've used that I'm going to offer to you that worked for me in addressing my mental health issues was, and this is a great quote from a gentleman that I never knew his name, an older gentleman from Hollywood. And he was quoted one day as saying, "Surround yourself by people whose face lights up when you walk into the room. Those are the only people you want around you. Choose joy. Choose people who, when you say their name, a smile comes to your face. And you're excited when you get a text from them. Even if you don't talk to them for 10 months, you get a text, you're excited. You get a call, you're excited. You see them in a crowded room, you light up and you wave to them and signal because you want to meet them. Now, welcome to the world of work. You're going to have to work somewhere. We'll get to that in a second. You're going to be surrounded by people that you have to tolerate their very existence, right? That's just the way it is. You can't get rid of everybody. But If you choose to only allow people, and this includes family, you can fire family members, even close family members. If they're toxic people and they don't, on balance, they don't bring you joy, then send them packing. And this isn't a Walmart day where you go, hey, you're out of here, Uncle Bob. You just stop talking to them. You don't return their texts. You let them go. If they're a toxic uncle, a toxic aunt, a toxic sister or brother, I wish you the best of luck, but I can't have you in my life because you're a toxic human being. Narcissists are like that all the time. So you just do your best as you can to only have joyful people around you who bring you joy. The second is have a look at your calendar. Your calendar is a physical expression of your respect for yourself. How much time in your calendar is allocated to you? Yes, we all have to work 40, 60 hours a week, whatever. I get it. All the other time, what's in your calendar? Does it bring you joy? Are your personal leisures there? Do you leave white space, which is simply the time carved out for nothing? You're not booking anything. I'll give you an example. My wife's first name begins with P. We have Saturdays with P because she works 100 miles an hour. I work 100 miles an hour Monday to Friday. We have Saturdays with P. I book nothing on that day. Nothing. That is a day for my wife and I to connect and spend time together. Maybe we'll meet up with another couple or somebody else for lunch. Probably not. That's our day together because we matter to each other and we carve that time out. And the last part is when you think about joy, choose things that bring you joy. That's leisure activities. Now, if you're not in a job that you love to do, and this is a controversial statement, but I'm going to say it anyhow. There's no such thing as work-life balance. Work is part of your role as a human to contribute to the world around you and to raise the funds to support your family. It's not work-life. It's life. So if you're doing a job that requires you to think about it as something bad, you don't swing your legs out of bed in the morning and jump out with the opportunities that are in front of you to get at work, then you're in the wrong work. Now, obviously you can't quit in today's economy, but you can look forward and say, hey, what is it that I would like to be doing that earns a similar amount of money? And maybe over the next couple of years, I'm going to make the transition to that business. I'm not telling you to quit overnight. I'm telling you when everything in your life is joy. And a great expression is Greg McEwen wrote a book called Essentialism. And there's a paraphrasing quote from him that simply means, when you're asked to participate or do something or be involved, if your immediate response is not an absolute hell yes, jump out of your seat and pump your fist in the morning because you can't wait to do it, then the answer is no, even to family. That's a standard you have to keep to protect your time and to protect your joy. Over time, if you do that recipe, I believe, and it worked for me, your joy starts to go up like this and your stress starts to go down like that. It's not linear and it's not quick, but over time it works. And the last part is your financial health. Listen, welcome to the troubled 2020s. I had a chat I went to on Monday before Canada Day. Happy Canada Day. I went to this wonderful presentation all day about a bunch of entrepreneurs and businesses that were trying to figure out ways to deal with the government. You know, government contracts are so difficult to get into, to get. It's such an onerous process. How do we do it? And a couple of the individuals were talking about, you know, they're either just coming out of school or they're thinking about looking for work, but they understand right now putting out your resume or CV is almost a pointless effort. People are putting out hundreds of them. So if you need a job that pays this, it's almost up to you to create that job out of thin air. I've got some podcasts in the future coming up on how to do that. Right now, the point is, with financial health, it is your responsibility to pay your bills. Unless you believe, like we said before, that some other entity, friends, family, government, some magical money out of the sky, however you want to phrase it, that somebody else is responsible to pay your bills for you, that's your responsibility. And whether you follow David Chilton or whether you're a Dave Ramsey person, a Tony Robbins, a Mel Robbins, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, no matter what you read out there when it comes to financial literacy, it's your job to pay your bills, and it's your job to fund your retirement. Here in Canada, the Canada Pension Plan, just like Social Security in the US, is designed to be no more than 1/3 of your retirement income. So whatever you get from your government pension plan, it's your responsibility to save twice as much as that income per month. What worked for me from the beginning, and I made a whole bunch of dumb mistakes, but one thing that I did do, and my kids now do it, and they're well into their 20s, is that every check you get, 10% goes to your retirement, 10% goes to that emergency fund because you get punched upside of the head from the world, and 80% is life. Now, some people advocate for 70-30, 60-40, 50-50. There goes in the FIRE movement, the Financial Independence Retire Early, that suggests you live off 15, 20, maybe 25% of your income, and you save 70 or 80% of your income, so that by age 30, you're done, you're retired for life, and you don't need to work again. That may be a little bit out there, but the end result is this. The life that you want in the retirement is your job to fund. It's not somebody else's. So get after it. And if you only really have two choices, let's be blunt. If you want more money, you either have to earn more or spend less. It's not somebody else's responsibility to automatically just magically start paying you more because costs are higher. Make more money or spend less money. Making more money means negotiate through a union. Maybe you can get some good raises with your employer, depending on your leverage that you have with the employer. And if not, look at, okay, hey, I want to make $75,000 a year. What professions and job make that? What skills are required for that? And let's draw out the roadmap to learn those skills, right? How do I get, if I want to earn $175,000 a year as a lawyer, then I have to sit back and say, okay, what do I need? What skills do I need? What training, what education do I need? What support do I need? Develop that roadmap and dine it out. It does me no good to sit around and pound and say, I want to live a $175,000 lifestyle, but I'm only making 35 grand in the job I am. Well, that's great. If you want to make more than 35 grand, you can pound the table and demand more money, or you can get out there and get the skills. I know people don't like that. But welcome to the blunt life, right? I was in the military for 28 years. We had decent pay raises, after the first 10 years of my career, we started getting decent pay raises. But I knew that if I wanted to make more, then I needed to do the things that would get me promoted where more money was, right? I couldn't run around and complain like a child that I wasn't making enough money from the job that I'm doing now. I knew that there were jobs that made more than me, and the Army was very bloody clear exactly what I had to do to get them, and then that was my job to go after it. Enough bemoaning aside, if we sit back and think, your ability to fight the world around you, your ability to be ready for chaos, your ability to be a resilient self is grounded in what you can control. That is your physical, your mental, and your financial health. Those take time, but you sit back, do what we talked about today, start writing it out, start taking those action, getting your physical and mental health together, getting your financial health together, because in a rapid onset, no notice calamity, do you want to start that calamity out of shape, stressed to the nines, and broke? Is that how you think you're ready to go? Look at yourself in the mirror right now and ask yourself, if the world went pear-shaped or upside down, the shizzy hit the fizzy, am I physically, mentally, and financially ready to take it on? If the answer is no, then it's you, my friend, that incredible person staring at me in the screen right now. You are responsible for your outcomes. So get after it, and remember, it doesn't cost any money. Preparedness, which is the function of becoming more resilient, does not cost any money. Full stop. Put it on repeat. Roll it back. Play it 3 times. You don't need to spend money to become prepared. All right, so thank you very much for listening to this week at Inside My Canoe Head, the podcast. Please go over to our parents' website at preparednesslabs.ca. Leave a comment, talk to us, tell us everything you need, comment on any of the social media. We put as much out as we can. Our goal is to try to put out several hundred items on social media every week so we engage with you. We want your feedback. I love it, good, bad, or indifferent. We've started a whole series of putting more clips out, and I have barraged with some pretty ugly stuff, but guess what? If I'm willing to put my face on social media, the village idiots are going to find me, and that's perfectly fine because, hey, I need entertainment like the rest of you. So thank you very much for taking care of yourself, for taking care of the community around you, and let's become resilient together. Take care. Stay safe.